Part 2 of my story, Part 1 in the comments down below. My oldest son, age 27, called me today. I live about 3 hours away from home during the week as I got promoted. My WS are in the process of buying a second home and trying to work things out. My son has special needs but is fairly high functioning. When I got called up to go to Iraq back then, my son prayed to God to keep me from going, and he said if I went, he would not believe in God anymore. I could have retired and not gone, but I had orders from 2 commanding generals to order soldiers to deploy to Iraq. These orders were very clear. So, from that time, I would be given a list of unit vacancies and then compare it with my list of available soldiers, and then my job was to call the soldiers at home or work and inform them that I, by authority of our commanding general, CG, am ordering them to report on a certain date to deploy to Iraq. Typically, requests to fill vacancies go through a command process, and this can take months. So the commanding generals I served under 2 different ones during this time wanted things expedited and gave me the task. I had brigade, battalion and company commanders get pissed off at me because I did not inform them as I plucked their soldiers for deployment. I got my share of ass chewing from these commanders, but I always informed them that they can complain to the CG if they felt I was out of line. None of them did. So, I sent soldiers to Iraq and some of them got busted up and one received 4 Purple Hearts. How could I retire and walk away from going to Iraq after I sent soldiers there and some of them almost never came back? I could not do it. My wife understood and supported me, but my son lost his faith in God. No sooner did I leave for the deployment that my son started to drink and use meds. My wife could not control him. When I came home, I could not get him to stop, but he at least did not cause problems. He was never out of control when he came home. My wife then had an emotional affair starting in April. I busted it up at the end of May. I got help, she did not. My counselor told me that she would do it again, and if the guy was local it would go physical. My wife and I had talks about it. She said it would never happen. It did. He started in next July, went physical in September and ended at the beginning of December. My wife had slept with the OM on September 9th. In the aftermath of the discovery, she told me that her and the OM had planned to sleep together on this date back in August and that nothing was going to stop her from having fun and excitement. Not even after having her son showing signs of mental issues. My son got treated and was doing exceptionally well. Until today, we have been talking about his mother's affair and he has been under a lot of stress because of this. Yesterday afternoon my wife texted me and says she is bored and lonely at home. I triggered. I went into panic mode thinking, is this code for I contacted someone, etc. When I called her later that day I was not in the best of moods and she knew it. I ended up hanging up on her and we did not talk till this morning. I have talked to my wife several times today and she just seemed down and out of sorts. My son called me about an hour ago and told me he went out drinking, that he went off on his mother this morning, using the F word, saying why did you do this to dad and us boys, that she has caused him pain and that he cannot take it anymore. He went to a bar and had 1 beer. To his credit he stopped and then called me. He is a good kid and we talked a long time and he got his bearings back for the time being. I have had a career in the Army which has spanned over 36 years on active duty and the reserves. I have served as an officer and now am a master sergeant. I have also served in ministry, serving as an associate pastor but mostly as a chaplain in addition to working in federal service. The churches I served in were toxic. I can't tell you how many times I was burned by senior pastors lying, cheating, and these were both mainline and conservative denominations. Hence, I started working as a trauma chaplain. Nursing home chaplain, where at least I could go home at night and not worry about church politics. I was really hurt by various pastors over the years. Now my Christian wife cheats on me. Last year and this year they were all men that were committed to their churches and families. At least they said so on their FB pages. In March of this year the OM posted of his abiding faith, denial of the devil, how great his church is. And a few months later he is sleeping with my wife. My faith is almost gone. I told my wife the other day that you Christians who are faithful and true believers are just all liars, cheats and homewreckers. I told her that I now understand why during the church service they talk about passing piece of Christ. What they really mean is passing a piece of meat to each other. That it is okay to bond with each other. Because hey, we believe, let's love each other. I told her that the day she first had slept with the OM I knew she went to the liquor store and bought alcohol. I said, did you the 2 of you drink? She said, he does not drink because he says it is wrong. I said, yea, right. Drinking is a big sin for him, but sleeping with another man's wife is just so cool. I am just tripping today and needed to vent. Update on the situation now. She is remorseful, etc. all positive. She lets me talk whenever I need to talk and answers all my questions even if I have asked them several times. She does not get argumentative nor defensive. We are looking for a second house so we can be together instead of when I come home on weekends. So, we are moving forward. She seems 100% committed. I am not 100% committed as I know the odds are against me. She has her moods like yesterday when my oldest son went off on her about the affair. She texted me the night before telling me she was bored and lonely. During the week I live in another city. And I triggered, called her and hung up on her. I know she is dealing with crap as well as I am. I do try to listen to her, but I keep thinking, she caused all of this. There are several nagging questions that I keep bringing up that I have not gotten satisfactory answers from her. 1. Times they were together. I know for a fact that they were together 7 times. She could only remember 5. I keep giving her information about those other 2 times, and she says she does not remember them. One time we came home from theme park on a Saturday, and the following Saturday the other man left with his family to the park they met and had slept together on Tuesday. After we came back and before he left, I told her, "What the hell, you do not remember this? We came home from the park and he was leaving for park and you do not remember talking about the park with him." She said that she only remembers texting him about what she would recommend visiting, and she said she does not remember talking to him about it. I just don't get it. I am sure this would have been a major conversation as they were together for about 5 hours that day. She told me that she was out till about 9:30 one night with him as he has to get up early for work, and that was a late night. I told her I know that on 2 occasions she was with him past 9:30. One night she dropped him off near his house at 10:43 p.m. and another night at 10:30 p.m. I gave her my proof and she says she can't remember and she says it does not make sense. So, I keep asking her about it. My suspicion is this, that something happened that she thinks is too much for me to handle and just goes blank. I have discussed this with her and she denies that there is anything more. She says she wants to remember as she knows it is important to me, but she says she can't remember and does not want to make up a story just to satisfy me as she wants to tell me the truth. I had a thought the other day about this. She can no longer get on her Facebook as I have control over it. The other man and other man's wife blocked my Facebook page. I sent the other man and the other man's wife each a message from my WS Facebook. Never from mine. They both blocked me but not my WS. I can look around their Facebook pages with no problem from my WS account. I can't access theirs from my Facebook. When I go to search on my WS's Facebook page, I just have to type in the first letter of either of their names and they pop right up on top. I am really wondering if his wife was not involved. Maybe over paranoid, but why would they not block my WS from their Facebook? If I was the other man's wife, I would have blocked my WS right away and had my husband block her as well. I just do not get it. 2. Her reasons why she did it keep changing. My 99 told me that until she figures out why she did it, it will be very difficult to move forward. Told me it was due to her mother's passing in June. Then told me it was just plain lust. Then told me it was because our son threatened suicide with one of my pistols. She said it drove her over the edge. Bull. They already had a date set weeks prior to my son getting out of control. I told her this and she said, "Yay, you are right." Then told me she wanted fun and excitement. Then told me it was due to my nephew and her sister telling everyone in March about her online affair last year. I shared this info with my nephew after he told my niece was cheating on him. I officiated over their wedding. Then told me that it was because I had ED. I come home from Iraq. She picks me up, and we go to a hotel. I can't get it up, but I am excited mentally. I end up in horrible pain down there and end up in the emergency room. I get examined. Everything checks out okay. The doctor orders Viagra and then I was unstoppable. My wife had to finally tell me to stop as she was getting sore. I told her, "What the hell? I come home from war, we go to a hotel and it does not work, but I have everything working within 4 hours and you are telling me that it made you feel like I had no desire for you." Then she tells me that she became numb and had a do not care attitude due to the passing of her parents. She said that because of this attitude she would have done anything. And she tells me she does not know why she did it and that is why she is in counseling. I could go on. It is like the flavor of the week. I do not trust her and only believe what she does and not what she says. When she told me everything, I only believed those parts that I could verify, and I verified most of what she told me. There are parts to her story that I can't verify, but they are minor things. So, I am moving forward, trying R. I have national boards to prepare for, and due to this crap, I missed a deadline in December and can't take them in April and will have to wait till October, as they only have them twice a year. My wife was counting on me getting another promotion, but I have to take the boards first, and once I pass the boards, I get an automatic promotion. Part of me does not duck and care about taking the boards. I basically turned down a promotion to sergeant major because my heart is not in the army anymore. I feel like a robot trying to keep my head together. On top of this, my boss is telling me how great I am doing, that I am going to replace him and that I need to pass the boards and prepare to take over. He knows the situation and keeps praising me for how well I function at work. It is just hard, as you all know. My WS is doing most of the correct things at this point. The last 2 times I had to drive home, last Friday and then Monday night, because I had medical appointments for my VA claim. She called me as I was leaving work and talked to me till I got home, which was about a 3-hour drive for me. She did this because she knows I trigger on the way home. The OM lives along the highway and I can see his house. I have to drive past the bar where they first met in the parking lot when my WS picked him up for their first encounter, and of course all the motels where they had slept together are all along my route home. So, my WS now calls me and talks to me so I do not trigger, and this is something she did on her own. This is just one of the things she is doing. She does not get defensive or argumentative. She did lie to me this past Saturday and I went off on her and she finally admitted to lying to me. It was really a minor issue, but at the time it seemed bigger and I knew she lied and it set me off. We put an offer on a second house yesterday and it looks good. This is so we can be together at the end of the day instead of me living in an apartment 3 hours away. So, in most things my wife is doing the heavy lifting in a very positive way. I drank a little last Friday but did not get blasted drunk. I am doing better, and my WS's oldest brother, he is a senior pastor in North Dakota, keeps in contact with me. Only one brother has been in contact with my WS and her family used to be very close. None of her other family members have contacted her since I made her call them and tell them what she did. I have friends who call me several times a week. One of them is a Vietnam vet who is a social worker from a previous job. I have my moments and there are days that I wish I would have just walked away from her. Last week my father, 87 years old, decided that he no longer wanted to live and refused all medical treatment. He made the right choice in my opinion. On Tuesday, Jan. 31st, my WS and I visited him in the hospital and had a good visit with him. My WS always loved my father. My father talked about my tour in Iraq and how he was thankful that I made it back safely. We talked about other things and it was the last time my WS and I would ever have a conversation with my father. For over 20 years my WS and I went on vacation with my parents to Williamsburg, VA, and we always had a great time. We could not go in 2008 as I was deployed. 2007 was the last year we went with my parents. Friday, we signed a contract for a second house. As I am giving our a try, we need to buy another house near where I work so we can be together. Right now, I live apart from my family during the week. Saturday, I triggered and went off on my WS. We managed to get things back on track and went to see my mother and 2 older brothers to discuss my mother's finances, home, etc. After this meeting we all went to see my dad. He was very weak but still with us. He could only look at us and could no longer speak. Sunday my WS and I went again to my mother's home and all my brothers and my sister was there. We all discussed the funeral, finances, etc. We then went to dinner and then to see my father, my mother, 2 older brothers, older sister, my younger brother, myself and my WS were all in the room with my father. He was unresponsive. We watched the Super Bowl. The nursing home was one where I had served as a chaplain years ago and it brought back so many memories of sitting with dying residents. During halftime I noticed a big change in my father and I told the family that he will not be with us much longer. Hell, I have been with over 100 dying folks and knew. My WS went over and held his hand as my mother and sister held his other hand. My brothers and I gathered around the bed and my dad took his last breath as Madonna sang in the background. My dad hated Madonna and my brother jokingly stated that Madonna killed him. This morning I am grieving the loss of my father in addition to dealing with the pain of what my WS has done. Last night my WS held me as I fell asleep. I decided to go to work today so I was up at 4 a.m. and my WS got up, made me breakfast. I told her that I will be taking 3 days off at the end of the week. As I drove to work this morning, I had to pass the hotels, the OM's house, and all I could do was say, "Duck you," my wife's name, over and over again. At least my father's suffering is over and he passed peacefully with my mother and all his kids there. I was glad my WS was there as well. A month later, my WS called me on Monday and said her IC told her she no longer needs to come in for counseling due to the fact that her depression is at a 3 on a scale of 10. Depression. She went in for treatment for internet addiction, to work on why she did it, ways to prevent it from happening again, her issues with guys in public and why she can fall in love with guys on the internet in as short as 3 days after initial contact. Not one of these things were addressed. I am pissed. Talked to her last night and multiple times today about this. She missed a month of counseling and only went this past Monday because I complained. She went into counseling on her own the first week of December in crisis for infidelity. Her stated goals were to work on the issues I mentioned, never ever depression. These were her goals, not mine. I did not force her. She said she will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to get herself fixed, and I am told that, hey, my depression is under control. What a boneheaded move on her part. I do counseling for a living. My clients come every week looking forward to treatment. I deal with PTSD, alcoholism, etc. They are upset if I can't always schedule them weekly. They are all motivated. I have not had one ask for another counselor or stop their treatment since I started here in October, and my counseling load continues to increase almost on a daily basis. I am not God's gift to the counseling world, but I am not bad at what I do. But this with my WS has set me back. I talked to her brother-in-law last night and another counselor today, and we all agree that she needs long-term counseling and she must have manipulated her counselor because none of this makes sense. I told my WS last night and today about my feelings, and we have had long conversations about it. She apologized and said she will go back and work on these issues. Why do I need to tell her this crap? I told her that our marriage is on the brink and that I feel she does not care about her treatment nor the marriage. She told me that she needed this kick in the pants. At least she listened to me, apologized several times, and did not argue or get defensive. Talked to my fellow therapist this morning about this. She is a marriage and family therapist. She says it sounds like my wife is lost and does not know what she wants. She says my wife will say what she thinks I want to hear because she is scared about me walking. She also said that the therapist was either incompetent or misled by my wife as to why she was coming in for counseling, as no therapist could deal with infidelity issues within this short period of time. My wife says she will get the notes of the sessions if I want them. I don't need them. I will ask her for the treatment plan though. My WS got in contact with an old girlfriend via Facebook after she started her affair in July. There was no contact prior to this for over 30 years. They partied in high school and went to cosmetology school together. Last summer my WS contacted her. They tried to meet but could not settle on a date as they each had excuses. I followed this on Facebook. Then my WS announces that they were meeting a few weeks ago. She had said that they would meet in town. I had no problem at the time. Then they decided to meet halfway. Her girlfriend lives back in my WS hometown. They met at a tavern and had a good time. Now my WS texts with her friend quite a bit. I blew up on Friday night about it because I am tracking her phone and saw all the texts, but my WS deleted them all. My WS told me that I can't stop her from seeing her. We had a nasty argument. We did make up late Friday night and had a decent weekend. Last week my WS was telling me about her girlfriend's husband. On Facebook she does not show that she is married, how he ended up in the hospital and his elderly father broke a bone helping him, etc. I told my WS that I do not want to hear about it. Why do you know so much about someone you ignored for 30 years? Now last night she texted back and forth for 1.5 hours with this girlfriend. I called my brother-in-law and he says this is not good. This was a girl his sister partied with back in the day. I sent my WS a text a few minutes ago asking her to end all contact with her, that after 30 years she can afford to cut it off. I told her I am not comfortable with it and that she needs to end it now. My WS is at work and will get the message in about an hour. That is when she will check her phone. I know she will be mad about it, but I do not have a good feeling about this relationship. My WS told me that I am too paranoid on Friday. I told her that I was never like this and that I do not like the person I have become, and I said you are the only one to blame for this. My WS has local friends that I would not mind her seeing or getting to know better. We have mutual friends from our dealing with antiques, and my wife has always said she would like to do more with these girlfriends, and some have called her to do things, but my WS always has an excuse. Some legit, others not so legit, not to go out with them. I have fears. They will talk about old boyfriends, etc. And my gut is telling me this is not good and I feel very anxious about it. I have not felt like this in the past. She deleted texts because her phone was full. She deleted her youngest brother's texts. She told me that she talks to him about me. I don't care, and in fact I encourage her to do so. He is the only one in her family that talks to her. Her 2 older brothers don't and have not since she called them and told them she had slept with the OM back in November. Her brothers talk to me. Her 2 sisters talked to her at a bridal shower 2 weeks ago, and that is the only time they talked since the affair. The only deleted text I am upset about is the ones from her friend, and that set me off on Friday. Man, I have never controlled her, been angry with her, cursed her. Never been paranoid, never. I told her that she has done this. If she wants out, fine. Then she better tell me, because so far, she says she wants to work it out. But like I said, if she lets a friend who she had nothing to do with for over 30 years get between us, then I am done. She says she needs a friend. I get that. But there are many people who I would not have a problem with that we both know and who have reached out to her in many ways over the past 2 years, and she is not interested. In fact, over the past year several of her friends from the antique business have asked her to go out with them and she has not. I would be fine with that. She says I am twisting things and embellishing the truth. She says everyone she has talked to has told her I am wrong. She has only talked to her youngest brother and sister-in-law, and they are telling her that I am wrong. She says she is telling them the truth, and that she is going in for counseling because I looked at videos at night and that will get to the bottom of why she cheated on me. I told her that she had unprotected thing with a stranger the first time she met him and she drove him to a motel. She said I have said this 5 times today. She says I am not showing her love, that I am putting her down. We talked again about 40 minutes ago and she said that I am bringing stuff up on a day that she has worked hard and been on her feet, that this is not right. She said I am looking for perfection. This has been a common theme in her, and that nothing will be right in my eyes, that I have her under a microscope, that I am nitpicking everything. I said, maybe I am, but you have caused this. She says I keep bringing this stuff up every day. I don't. There have been days where I don't bring it up, once for 4 days. And there have been times where 3 or 4 days have gone by and we talked about the for an hour, and that is it. This last issue about her GF has bugged me, and yes, we argued about it Friday and today. I did not discuss the affair yesterday, if my thinking is correct, nor Saturday, nor Sunday. I think. So, no, I am not a saint, but the ultimatum stands. No contact with this former GF. She says I have friends that I can talk to and I do. She says she does not. When I brought up her friends, she gave me every excuse in the book why she can't or how wrong I am about these girls. I wish I could record our conversations. She tells me about her friends at the beginning of the conversation, then she tells me she never said that and that she has no friends or the friends that I bring up are not her friends. She is now crying, telling me that this makes me offensive to her, and that she is taking a bath and going to bed. She has gotten bolder. I know that this is a power struggle and she is trying to regain hers. I know in the future that things will have to shift more in her direction, but right now she has shifted to fighting mode and now is not the time to divide power. I still think she is hiding stuff. She said they were together 5 times, had slept together 4 times, and I busted up their 5th. I know 7 for a fact. I don't believe her and still think she is hiding stuff. She says she never had slept with the guy, yet she drove around with him several times and drank beer with him in his pickup truck. Then she came home, packed up her stuff and moved in with him, left me with the kids, ages around 11 and 12. She said she was so upset when she got to his house that she went upstairs. The guy slept on his couch and she showered and slept on his bed. Her dad called her the next morning, cursed her out and busted up his phone. There was a blizzard and her dad called me and told me that she is coming home and that I am to love her and forgive her and accept her. She told me tonight that when I made her call her brothers and sisters at the beginning of December that I humiliated her, that I forced her to do it. She told me she would do anything to make this marriage work and keep me from leaving. Yet she lied to me and her brothers, telling me and them that she only had cheated once. On December 13th, with lots of threats, she told me the whole story. I wish I had the phone records then, because I believe at that point she would have told me everything. The physical part does not make sense either. She said they did it once each time. Heck, my wife and I had slept together 4 or 5 times already in one day. And she is saying that they were together in our car and in hotel rooms and they only had slept once together each time. I do not believe it. My doctor friend today told me that I am a strong guy, that he would have left my wife. I do love her, but I will not be a doormat. Some will say that I am already, but all I want is the truth, remorse, and her willingness to work this out and stop pretending that everything is okay. I know she thinks I am now the problem and I want her to realize that it is not me. She has tried to turn this on its head and say I am the bad guy and that I caused her to do it. I will not allow her to do it. I honestly believe she thinks she can get away with it. At least I think that is why she is fighting me. I will not allow that. If she wants out, then she can file and we will lose the house and everything we have worked towards, and right now if she does, I will quit my job and live as a homeless vet, because I will not give her a penny of support. We can divide up the assets and I will buy a Harley and she will not hear from me again. Evia will take care of me and I will be okay. I told myself if this is going to work, she will not rug sweep, and if she does, I will just hammer away until she stops or we die. I feel like I am in a fight for her to see herself. She feels justified now in saying it is my fault, that I caused her to do what she did. You all get it. I get it. She doesn't get it. I told her that I do not want her to go back to her counselor and she is next week. I asked her to get another one. She won't. I know that this will be another issue. I can't explain exactly why I have put up with my wife. Love, yes. Perhaps it had to do more with her father asking me to take care of his daughter after the first incident 12 years ago. He was poor, but my father-in-law was just a great man. He loved me and, on his bed, he got all excited when I came in the room and announced to everyone that I was there. He pulled me aside on the day he lapsed into a coma and told me again to take care of his daughter no matter what. Some have said that a promise to a man that's gone is not really valid at this point. I understand that. My wife's vows have apparently meant nothing to her. I wish my father-in-law was still alive to help me, because he was very wise, kind, and understanding. But he could be firm and was with my wife. I really hurt, and these last days have been hard, but I am committed to the long haul. That does not mean I will not file for D, but right now I am moving forward with her. She has made progress, not as much nor as fast as I like, and I will not make any excuses for her. But right now, it is enough for me to stay. If you would have seen how she was when I was in Iraq, how she supported me prior to leaving and right after I came home, you would understand me a little better. There were times I thought I would never ever see another sunset again. Perhaps being in combat prepared me for this. I am not sure, but I am in a fight and I am not ready to give up just yet. Friday and this weekend were pivotal. My wife laid it on the line. She was going to divorce me. My boys were mad at me. Her 2 brothers were telling her to divorce me. The focus was on me, not her. I was the one out of control. Had I been home, I would have talked things out instead of letting them build, then getting drunk on my way home on Friday evenings, acting stupid and yelling. Had I been home, I would have seen her every day working on things, instead of becoming paranoid as to where she was, what she was doing, etc. I have completely reversed the focus of her issues and her to me being a jerk. That is a fact. I lost the high ground. I have become the problem. Thursday night I surprised her and came home. I thought she was doing no good. had a private phone. I launched into her. It was not a good scene. My boys yelled at me. I tried to fix what I did, but I did a lot of damage, and drove back to where I was living, angry and feeling stupid. Friday, I asked to leave work early. My wife called me and I told her I was coming home, and she said she would get in the shower. When I got home, she was cold. No hi, no hugs, no kisses, nothing. Nothing physical. She told me she has shut down. She said she wanted a good weekend. We talked some more. Friday, we did some things around the house. I apologized to her for my anger. I promised not to lose control again. I meant it. I told her I have a right to be angry but not to be destructive, and promised in the future that when I am angry, we will discuss it in positive ways. Said no affection. I slept downstairs. My comment throughout the day. My wife suggested that we do yard work together. So, we got more mulch, pulled weeds, mowed the yard, etc. I have lumber from a small barn I tore down for a guy stacked in my yard, and my wife suggested we build a little bench. At least she was trying to work on things in a positive way. We never really built stuff together. So, I got my saws and other woodworking stuff out and we built a bench. We did other projects around the house. So tonight, nothing again. I slept downstairs, though my wife told me that I could sleep in the bed. I did not want to do that. I honestly was feeling bad. I kept telling her throughout the day that if we were together during the week that I would not have done what I did. I told her I am not making excuses for my behavior, but she needs to know that we would be further ahead if we were together. She told me that D will be off the table once we move, maybe sooner. But she is now not considering it as long as I do not lose control of my anger like I had in the past, as she can't take it. Sunday, we worked around the house. I told her again that if we had been together, I would not have acted out the way I did. I told her I am sincerely sorry for losing control. We painted. I worked on my fruit trees. She painted the bench we built, making it look distressed. She suggested that we build a small bird house. We did. We talked a little throughout the day about things. I kept telling her that if she continues to withdraw her affection from me, that it will not be good. I told her I understand, but I said I am hurting and she needs to understand that. We watched a ball game together. Sunday night I was more or less avoiding her, not knowing how she was going to be. She announced at 8:30 p.m. that she was taking a bath and going to bed. She has to get up early on Monday mornings now. I tell her I am sleeping downstairs. She always checks the house locks, makes sure the dog is crated, and does other things as a routine. I am downstairs expecting her to come down and at least say goodnight, check the dog, etc. Nothing. I go up and she is asleep. It is 8:45 p.m. I turn on the light and she pop-up started. She is looking at me like, okay, here it comes. I tell her why you are asleep and did not even bother to check things out. She said, well, I knew you would. I said, listen, I am not angry but very frustrated. I said, you wanted a good weekend. You wanted me to end being out of control. I told her I gave her that and this is the thanks I get. You going to bed, without saying a word. I said, you know I have to leave early in the morning and you won't say goodbye or goodnight. I said, this is not even fair. I said, this is over the top. She sat up and said that I am right, pulls me over and gives me a hug, the first hug in a week. Then she said, let's go outside. We go on the front porch and she snuggles with me, hugs me, and gives me a peck. We sit there for about 10 minutes and I said, you need to go to bed. She said I need to go to bed with her. We go to bed, she gives me a deep kiss, a hug, and we fall asleep holding hands. This morning we said our goodbyes. I know this is long, but I want to share that we the BSs can do things wrong and that can be as damaging. We the BSs have to own up to things we do badly. I hope this helps someone, because I am in a better place and could have blown it big time. 2 months later, had a very good talk on Friday. It is hard to explain here, but when my wife said she is willing to sell the house if we need to do so, it showed a big change of heart. This is a huge move on her part. We discussed quite a bit. I feel we have made a great leap forward. At this point we will keep the house and are in the process of buying a second one. There was some doubt last week about keeping our current home, but that does not matter to my story. We had a great day at the beach on Saturday and we worked most of the day on Sunday, starting the groundwork for a brick patio. I worked my butt off with the shovel, pick, digging iron, and I am not sore. Even in the heat I could have done more. It was the most relaxed that I have been. Whatever happened, my wife turned a corner and I am not sure what caused it. My wife is finally coming around. I do not think she has cheated on me since November 29th, but she has not been completely honest, and until that happens I cannot comfortable move forward. It got fairly nasty with my wife in the past several months, but in the end, it turned out positive, and that is all that I wanted. If she continues this trend, then we will see a very positive result as far as our marriage. Right now, I am hoping we can settle on a second home so we can be together at the end of the day. I do love my wife though. There are days when I am just ready to move forward with my life. My comment, sub if you have not yet. Final ending might be a surprise to you. Stay tuned for the ending soon.